welcome back. Whether you've been following this story from the very beginning or you've just found us today, I'm so glad you're here. My name is Karen and this is my ESL Listen-Along Series, where I read my own novel of Fire and Fate, chapter by chapter, to help you grow your English through real adult storytelling. You can listen like an audiobook or read along with your own copy. The link is in the description. A quick reminder, this is an adult book for listeners 18 and over. It contains themes of domestic abuse, trauma, and other mature content with explicit sexual content in later chapters. If that's not right for you, my Dr. Dolittle series is completely family-friendly and linked below. Still with me? Perfect. Let's get you caught up. Seraphine, living under the name Sarah, has been trying to survive in Wavecrest. In the last chapter, her fragile stability collapsed. The planted money destroyed her credibility, and in one moment she lost both her job and her room. She walked out of the cafe with nothing but the impossible question of what to do next. On the beach, she thought about her options: run, hide, or tell someone, and Draven found her there. He asked her to dinner. She hesitated, she resisted, and then she said yes, because part of her wants to trust him, and part of her is terrified that trust might be another kind of cage. Chapter 9 begins in Draven's point of view. Kaeldrick and Zev have been digging into Sarah's past, and what they uncover is chilling: a marriage, a man with cold eyes, a following of devoted people, the cult Seraphine lived in, with its own rules, its own security, and its own grip on her life. At the same time, the wolves are testing the dragons, probing attacks, measuring response times, pressing at the edges of the kingdom. Draven is fighting on two fronts: the threat outside and the truth inside. And yet, even in the middle of all of this, we see his softer side. The dress he chooses for Seraphine so she won't feel out of place on their date. A gesture that is gentle, thoughtful, human. Then the POV shifts. Seraphine sees the palace for the first time. How has she not noticed it before? She sees the reactions of the people inside, and she sees Draven still hiding the truth of who he is. Until the wolves attack again, until someone shouts, "Your Majesty!" and the secret is out. She runs because that's what she knows best, and Draven is torn between his people and his mate, between duty and desire. The chapter ends back in his perspective, exhausted from the battle, but with his first thought still on her. He wants to explain, he wants to see her strong and free, and when danger stirs again, she trusts him enough to listen. This chapter is about revelation, risk, and the fragile thread of trust that might hold or might break. Find your page if you have the book. Get comfortable, and I'll see you on the other side. Chapter 9. Draven. Kaeldrick strides into my study without knocking, which tells me this isn't good news. The gravity of a situation always trumps royal decorum for him. He tosses a slim folder, too slim, onto the table between us. I found nothing, not a trace, no record, no history, no family. Sarah doesn't exist. But I asked Zev to look deeper. He can find anyone with his contacts. I lean back in my chair, jaw tightening. My heart sinks. Not from frustration at the failure, but from something colder, fear. What do you mean, nothing? He shrugs, though his topaz eyes stay serious. Exactly that. No social security number, no school records, no rental agreements. It's like she appeared out of thin air a few months ago. Either she's running from something and erased her past with professional help, or someone buried it for her. My dragon stirs beneath my skin, a low growl vibrating in my chest. She's ours. She's in danger. I force the feeling down, focusing on Kael. She's terrified of something. I can feel it every time she looks over her shoulder. Whatever she's hiding from, it's close, and it's escalating. Before Keeldrick can respond, a sharp knock cuts through the room. Zev enters without waiting for permission. His dark eyes urgent in a way that makes my stomach drop. "Your Majesty," he says, "we have a situation at the northern outpost." I'm on my feet instantly. "The wolves?" "A probing attack," Zev replies. "Small force, but coordinated. They hit the supply depot at Stone Ridge Pass just before dawn." His voice is clipped, professional, but I catch the undercurrent of concern. "Casualties?" "3 wounded, non-critical, but Dre..." He hesitates, which is unlike him. They weren't trying to take territory. They were testing response time, seeing how fast we could mobilize. This was reconnaissance. Keeldrick mutters a curse. Bjorn wasn't bluffing. They're preparing for something bigger. "How long do we have?" I ask, already running through troop deployments and fallback strategies. "Days, maybe weeks," Zev says, then his expression shifts. "But that's not the only thing. While investigating your personal matter, I found something else, something that might be equally worrying." He passes over another folder, this one thick, and spreads it open on the desk. Surveillance photos, financial records, architectural diagrams. "The Covenant of the Pure Faith," Zev asks. "On paper, a self-sufficient religious community operating a 501c3. The population is about 400, including children born into the faith." 400? Keeldrick leans forward. "It's not a compound, it's a town." "Exactly. They control serious resources, organic farms, a publishing house, and several retreat centers. Anyone who joins signs over all possessions. They're not poor, Dre. They're wealthy and organized." I study the photographs, rows of identical houses, communal halls, and vast farmland. From the air, it looks peaceful, deliberately peaceful. "Security?" "Internal only. They claim persecution when other authorities look too closely. They have their own enforcers, and they're remote. 40 miles from the nearest sheriff's office. And this," he says as he points to a photo, "is their leader, Simon Caldwell. In all the photos I can find, Sarah is off to one side. My contact said they're married, but I can't find an official marriage certificate. My contact also told me that a few months ago, the prophet was injured, maybe even killed, but he didn't know for sure. If something's happened inside those walls, no one outside will ever know the details." Simon Caldwell. Her husband. I can feel the blood rushing in my veins, shock and anger, not at Sarah, but at the world and at him for finding her first. "What happened when he was injured?" Zev slides forward another file. "According to their doctors, Simon Caldwell suffered head trauma and fell into a coma. Transferred to a private medical facility owned by the Covenant. No outside physicians, no death certificate, no investigation, just a tragic accident." Keeldrick's voice hardens. "But he didn't die." "No, he woke up 2 weeks ago. The inner circle are telling the congregation he's in spiritual seclusion, recovering and receiving divine guidance. Only the inner circle, 10 or 12 loyalists, know the truth, and they're the ones hunting her." "How did they find her in Wavecrest?" Zev pulls another document from the file. Library computer log. Someone using guest access searches for news about Simon Caldwell's death. This search triggered their monitoring software. From there, they narrowed down the area to bus stations, motels, and cafes. She wasn't hiding from amateurs, Dre. She was hiding from zealots with resources, time, and conviction. My blood runs cold. She was checking to see if she was wanted for murder. Yes, I assume so. And the moment she searched, they knew where to look. Current location of these hunters? My voice drops to something barely human. We've confirmed 3 in the Wavecrest area. He taps one of the photos. Jacob Marsh, former document forger, handles all the compound's ID and legal paperwork. Dangerous, methodical. Keldrick exhales slowly. So they're here already? Zev nods. And there's more. We found fresh scratches on the door lock of her room, signs that it had been picked. My dragon inside me snarls, marking territory, a warning. They're escalating, Keldrick says grimly. They're watching her before the physical grab. Classic cult tactic. Watch her, then break her mentally before taking her back. Then we escalate too. I look between them, my oldest friends, my most trusted blades. KL, put discreet security on her building. If anyone approaches her room, I want to know. Zev, contain the wolves. I won't fight 2 wars at once. Zev inclines his head. Understood, but Dre, if we move openly, humans will notice. They'll ask questions we can't answer. I don't care. The words come out low and final. No one touches her. Whatever it takes, exposure, pressure from the other shifter species, I don't care. Find them, track them, and when they move, I want to know before they breathe. The 2 men exchange a look, silent, heavy with understanding. Understood, Zev says again, his voice quiet but firm. And the dinner tonight? KL asks carefully. You're still bringing her here, to the palace, where every servant will see her, where the news will spread through the kingdom in hours? Yes. My tone leaves no room for argument. At the palace, on the beach terrace. She's calmer near the sea. It feels safe to her. If I want her to trust me, if I want her to choose me, I need to meet her halfway. I need to meet her on her terms, not drag her into my world without her even knowing what that world is. The last thing she needs is another male demanding her compliance. KL's grin returns, faint but knowing. Romantic, Majesty, though a king usually doesn't have to beg for a woman's company. Careful, I warn. You're already on thin ice after the cafe stunt. I will earn this. He laughs, then turns serious again. I'll take care of the arrangements, and I'll deliver the dress you've chosen myself. He paused, looking genuinely puzzled. It's unexpectedly simple, Dre. Soft, pale blue, nothing that screams royalty. It's her, I say, the conviction absolute. I want her to feel seen, not overwhelmed. She needs softness, not diamonds. I pause, glancing out the window at the waves rolling far below. The ocean is restless today, white-capped waves crashing against the cliffs with unusual violence. A storm is coming, maybe, or maybe the universe reflecting the chaos building in every direction. And KL, be careful when you deliver it. If someone's been near her, I want to know who and how long they've been watching. Check the alley for signs. He nods, understanding the unspoken threat, and both men leave. I stand alone in the study, staring at the photos spread across my desk. Simon Caldwell's face stares up at me from one of them, a publicity shot from some community event. He's handsome in a cold way, grey eyes calculating, smile that doesn't reach past his teeth. The kind of man who wears righteousness like armour, while wielding cruelty like a blade. If someone from her past is indeed planning to hurt her, I think, feeling the dragon's heat building beneath my skin, they're about to discover a wrath they cannot comprehend. But first I need her to trust me, and that means telling her the truth tonight about what I am, what I rule, what I'm asking her to become, even if the truth drives her away forever. Seraphine. The dress arrives just before noon, wrapped in tissue paper soft as moonlight. It's a pale blue sleeveless dress, the fabric light and flowing, catching the light with every movement. I stare at it for a long time, trying to understand why someone like Dre would think of something so gentle. It wasn't the kind of clothing a demanding man would choose. It was the colour of the quiet, hopeful ocean. KL, Dre's friend, the tall one with the sharp smile, hands it to me with a polite nod. A small gift. He didn't want you to feel out of place tonight. Where exactly are we going? The question was soft, edged with apprehension. Dinner, he says, as if that explains everything. But before he turns to leave, his nostrils flare slightly and his deep blue eyes narrow. Do you live alone? The question makes my skin prickle. Yes. Why? He shakes his head. No reason, just looking out for my friend. He gave me a sharp, penetrating look that felt like a warning, then left, glancing back at the alleyway before disappearing into the hustle and bustle of the street beyond. When I finally slip the dress on, I'm stunned. It doesn't just fit my body, it fits my soul. The fabric hugs the curves I didn't even realize I had, clinging lightly to my waist and hips without being restrictive. It was elegant, simple, and felt perfectly me, like the woman I might have been if Simon hadn't crushed me. It was the opposite of the restrictive, dark clothes I'd worn for years, and wearing it felt like an act of rebellion, a small, reckless step towards believing I deserved beautiful things. When Dre arrives, he's behind the wheel of a sleek black car that hums quietly rather than roars. Understated but powerful, just like him. He steps out, his immense presence filling the narrow alley. He opens the door for me, and when our hands brush, the now familiar soothing warmth flickers through me, sharp and sweet. You look beautiful, he says simply, and the sincerity in his tone, the way his golden eyes lingered, stole my breath. I was falling fast. It was terrifying. Every day he spent time with me, every gentle touch, every respectful retreat, was a brick layering a foundation of hope I hadn't dared to dream of. My mind screaming, trap, but my body was already betraying me, leaning towards his warmth. The drive isn't long, winding along the cliffs until the sea gives way to an enormous stone structure. How have I never noticed this before? At first, I think it's an old estate, but as we pull through the gates, the sheer scale of it hits me. Towers, courtyards, balconies that seem to touch the clouds. You must see the question in my face because he says lightly, "It belongs to a friend. I stay here sometimes when I travel." The lie slips out too smoothly. It was a practiced ease that should have terrified me, but his hand was resting on the center console and I could feel the residual heat. I didn't push. I was too busy sinking into the sheer luxury of his protection. Inside, everything gleams. Marble floors, flickering sconces, high arches, but what catches me most is the people. Staff, guards, strangers in elegant clothing. Each one pauses as we pass, bowing their heads slightly, their eyes full of reverence. It sends a chill down my spine. Dre doesn't seem to notice them. He leads me through a side corridor and out into a courtyard glowing with twinkling lights. A table waits in the center, set for two. Candles shimmer in the ocean breeze, and the scent of salt and night-blooming jasmine hangs in the air. "This is beautiful," I whisper. He smiles softly. "It's nothing special. I just wanted somewhere quiet so we could talk and get to know each other." Dinner is easy. Strangely, wonderfully easy. We talk about places we've both been or wanted to visit, the kinds of food we love and the smell of rain after a storm. I tell him I grew up in a sheltered community. I don't give details, he doesn't press. He tells me he travels often, that he's responsible for some people back home. For the first time in years, I laugh, really laugh. The sound felt foreign and precious, And when he looks at me, it's not with pity or hunger. It's like he's memorizing the sound, wanting to own the memory, not the person. The more he shows restraint, the more recklessly I fall. He is the opposite of Simon, and that hope was a dizzying, dangerous drug. Then the door on the terrace bursts open. A young man rushes in, face pale, voice trembling. "Your Majesty!" He glances at me. "I'm sorry, I mean Draven. The wolves have breached the northern border." The courtyard goes dead still. My blood turns to ice. "Your Majesty." I turn to Dre, but he's already standing, every inch of him transformed, commanding, powerful, otherworldly. The soft man is gone, replaced by something commanding, powerful, otherworldly, a king. Majesty. The word echoes in my head, splintering everything I thought I knew. You lied to me. My voice is a whisper, shaking. You said this wasn't your home, but he just called you your Majesty, and why are wolves even a problem? He looks at me, guilt flickering in his liquid flame eyes. Sarah. No. I step back, shaking my head. You're a king, or at the very least a leader of some crazy people. You lied. The betrayal was sharp, worse than a knife, because I had given him my trust. You'll own me too, won't you? Like he did. You'll just claim me as one of your possessions. Pain flashes across his face, deep, seated hurt, but before he can answer, Kael appears at the doorway, his usual smirk gone. Dre, we have to move now. They are through the pass. Your people need you. Dre hesitates, his massive body torn between his people and me. Then he takes a step towards me. Please, believe me. I would never hurt you. I only lied because I was afraid you would run. I want to believe him. God, I do. The way he looks at me, like I'm something sacred, not something broken, makes me ache with longing. But longing is dangerous. I've been here before, standing on the edge of trust, only to be shoved into a cage disguised as love. He lied. Not about something small, but about everything, his power, his world, and now he's asking me to believe that he's different. That this time a man with all the power won't take away what remains of mine. My heart stutters, caught between the warmth he offers and the cold memory of Simon's grip. If I stay, I might be safe, or I might be owned again. I can't risk it. I turn to do exactly what he thought I would do. I run along the beach, the sound of my name, Sarah, echoing behind me, swallowed by the sudden chaos of a collapsing kingdom. Draven. By the time I return from the border, dawn stains the sky. Blood and smoke cling to me, my body bruised, my mind far away. The wolves were pushed back, but the peace in the pass is fragile. She's all I can think about. The way she looked at me, not with fear of my power, but fear of me. The accusation that I would own her like the man who had broken her soul. It hurt more than any wound I'd taken during the battle. I find her room dark, the window half open, a runner's escape route. I knock softly. Sarah. After a moment she appears at the door, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes red from crying, the soft blue dress abandoned inside. I came to explain, I say quietly, forcing the dragon's rage down, still high from the battle. I never meant to lie. I just wanted you to see me as a man first, not a king, not... My voice falters, not something to fear. She doesn't speak, but she doesn't slam the door in my face either. I take a slow breath, letting her feel my control, my desperate restraint. My people, they've been dying. We've lost something vital, but you... I stop myself, choosing the words carefully. You make me feel hope again. And I don't want to cage you, Sarah. If anything, I want to see you fly. For a long moment, she just studies me, tears glinting in her eyes. Then she whispers, I don't know if I can trust you. I know, I say, but I'll wait until you can. I will earn it. I step back to leave, ready to give her the space she needs, but then something sharp catches my senses, a scent, faint but unmistakable, metallic, wrong, male, a human scent, but laced with something dark and possessive. I turn towards the alley beyond the window, nostrils flaring. Someone's been here, recently, watching. The dragon inside me growls low, the sound of a wounded, protective beast. He's close. I force the fury down and turn back to her. Stay inside today. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone. I'll see you later. She nods, uncertain but calmer now, and closes the door. Outside, the air tastes of smoke and threat. Whoever's been stalking her isn't far, and when I find him, I'll burn the earth down around him before I let him touch her again. And that's chapter 9. Secrets revealed and danger closing in. So let's have a look at the language. Here are 5 words directly from the text that you should add to your English vocabulary. 1. Situation. Draven is told about a dangerous situation in the north. The wolves probing to see how the dragons react. A situation is a set of circumstances, often with a problem or challenge that must be managed. The situation at work is complicated. She handled the situation calmly. It's a flexible word used in everyday English for anything from casual inconveniences to life and death stakes. In this chapter, the situation is both personal and political, Draven's private bond colliding with his public duty. 2. Critical. The wolves launch probing attacks, testing dragon responses. There are some injuries, but none are described as critical. Critical means extremely serious, urgent, or life-threatening. The patient is in critical condition. We are at a critical stage in negotiations. It's a word that signals urgency, and in this chapter it reminds us that every second counts. Hesitation could cost lives. 3. Apprehension. Seraphine feels apprehension as she's getting ready for the date. She asks, "Where are we going?" Apprehension means anxiety or fear about what might happen. She felt apprehension before the exam. There was apprehension in the crowd as the storm approached. It's not full panic, it's the tense, uneasy feeling of danger. In this chapter, it captures Seraphine's instinct that something's about to change. 4. Rebellion. The cult Seraphine lived in had its own rules, its own security, and she sees wearing this pale dress as an act of rebellion. Rebellion means resisting against authority, often through defiance or uprising. The rebellion spread quickly through the villages. Teenage rebellion is a common theme in literature. Here it's not armies but individuals. Seraphine's smallest act of independence, leaving, hiding, saying no, are rebellion against a system designed to control her. 5. Vital. Draven knows that his people have lost something that is vital, and he's hoping that Seraphine is the cure. Vital means absolutely necessary for survival or success. Water is vital for life. It is vital to arrive on time. In this chapter, the word carries double weight. The kingdom's survival is vital, But so is Seraphine's trust, and Draven can't sacrifice one for the other. The idiom I want to focus on this week is the gravity of a situation. This phrase describes the seriousness, weight, or importance of circumstances. It's not about physical gravity, the force that keeps us on the ground, but about emotional and practical heaviness. In Chapter 9, Draven feels the gravity of his situation constantly. He's fighting wolves at the border, protecting his people, and at the same time trying to earn Seraphine's fragile trust. Every choice carries consequence. Every hesitation could cost lives. To understand the idiom, let's break it down. Gravity here means solemnity, seriousness, or importance. Situation means the set of circumstances you are facing. Together, the phrase signals that something is not casual, not light, not dismissible. It demands attention. For example, he didn't understand the gravity of the situation until it was too late. The teacher explained the gravity of cheating on the exam. It comes originally from the Latin gravitas, meaning weight or heaviness, and in English it's carried over into contexts ranging from politics to medicine to everyday life. What's worth noticing here is how the idiom works in contrast. Not every situation has gravity. Some are light, playful, or temporary. But when someone says the gravity of the situation, they're telling you this matters. In Chapter 9, the idiom is doing quiet but powerful work. Draven is not just choosing a dress for Seraphine, he is balancing the gravity of his kingdom's survival against the gravity of her trust. And when the wolves attack, the gravity of the situation forces the truth into the open. This is why this idiom is worth knowing. It teaches you how to signal seriousness in English without raising your voice. You don't need drama. You just need to name the gravity. And here's your question for this week. We've talked about should be and obligation. Now let's think about honesty and the choices people make when the truth feels dangerous. If someone lied to you to protect you, would you trust them again? It's not a simple yes or no. Lies can feel like betrayal, but sometimes they're told with good intentions, to shield, to soften, to delay pain. The question is, does the reason matter more than the lie itself? This is a question about loyalty, about safety, and about the gravity of choice. It asks you to weigh intention against impact. So how do you decide whether a protective lie is forgivable? Does trust depend on absolute honesty, or can it survive secrecy if the motive was care? And how would you explain your answer in English, using examples from your own life or from stories you know? It's a powerful way to practice expressing opinions, reasoning, and personal experience in English. Tell me what you think in the comments. I read every single one. That's Chapter 9. Draven has fought on two fronts, the wolves pressing at the border, the truth pressing at his heart. The palace walls couldn't keep the secret forever, and Seraphine has seen more than she was ready for. She ran because running is what she knows best, and Draven, torn between his people and his mate, had no choice but to let her go. But even exhausted from battle, his first thought is still her, not the throne, not the kingdom, her. He wants to explain, he wants her strong, free, unafraid. And in the final moments of this chapter, she trusts him enough to listen, just enough to stay inside when he warns her. Next week, we're in Chapter 10, and I'll tell you this, the truth can no longer be hidden. Draven shows her what he's carried all along, not just the man, not just the king, but the dragon inside. It's a revelation, it's a risk, and it's the moment that will change everything between them. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and if you can't wait, book link is in the description. I completely understand. Take care of yourselves.